This little video series is Dying Dar's Way, Radically Real Spiels on the End of Life. I'm here again with my friend Steve, and we are resuming our conversation about grieving. This is something, it is so important that you understand this and you share this, because you can spare yourself, and especially the dying and grieving, a lot of pain, discomfort, confusion by getting this right and understanding how it works, how the love flows, how the conversation flows, how the needs and requests and the services flow with people who are dying and grieving. We had just left off that someone else had encouraged your wife by saying, this is your last chance to express whatever it was. And of course, his wife, Sandy, did not want to do this. Now, what this brings up for me is this recurring theme throughout our video series, that people remain intensely in character in urgent and uncomfortable times, and we tend to do what's already comfortable and familiar regardless of the need. So at the center of need is the dying person, or in your case, the grieving person. And we want to make sure that the expression of love, concern, or just the experience of being together is informed by that person's, we're using Gary Chapman's vocabulary for this, love language. Did your wife want to express what was on her mind, or where was she?
She did not.
She did not.
It was her choice. Not to
Right.
to dwell on. It was her. She really had limited time, and she didn't want to dwell on things that would upset her.
Right, and it was everybody
For other
else's
people,
job.
maybe they would. It's again. I think, as I said, there are no rights and wrongs, but for other people, maybe it's good for them. Maybe this is what they want to do. They do want to focus on it. In her case, she did not. In my role. As her support person was to honor her wishes. But that said, it was very important to her that she have a real connection. I think what you call it is quality time, using the language, physical touch.
Right,
And so,
right. It would be a different experience for someone who loves verbal affirmations. They probably do want some more of this expression. For me, I'm the big acts of services girl. Their words don't have to pass. If I see you doing something for me, providing a service for me, that feels like I love you to me. Some people like receiving gifts. Some people like physical touch. That's another thing. I'm very touchy-feely. So there would be a presence that would be completely full of adequate communication for me, non-verbally, just by having somebody touch my feet. It could just be the tip of my finger,
Sure.
but the physical connection is so important for me. You have identified, Steve just got introduced to this this topic of the love languages, but immediately you knew that Sandy's way of feeling most fully loved was not going to be verbal details. It was going to be quality of time. And what did you do with people at that time to make sure that she wasn't pressed to show up for the way they wanted her to deal with her ending?
It is as sort of the role of a gatekeeper,
Gatekeeper.
is for people to understand, what's important to her,
Right.
and and that it's about her, and it's not really the opportunity for them to make it about themselves.
Right.
And because, as we've discussed, and you've discussed probably in many of the other videos, is, suddenly you as the person in the center, the person who's dying or the person who's grieving,
right?
suddenly, on top of what they're dealing with, have to deal with that the other person's upset.
Right.
And that's not what at all what
Right.
it should be about.
This is so common. This is so common.
Right. But it was important for Sandy to express to me what she needed. And it was hard for her, given the aphasia that she had from the brain cancer.
Aphasia, she was
the
not
inability
able
to talk. She was maybe able to get out a few words
Right.
or a phrase, but and there's a story where it became absolutely clear to me what she needed, and I think I was trying to put her to sleep, and I was upset about something that happened during the day. I was worried about something going on in the future, and she finally caught my attention.
Yeah.
She made me look at her,
Right.
for starters, like look at her.
Right.
And she said, I need you to be here now.
And what it must have taken for her to get words out, right, because she was no longer able to speak, that it was so important
Absolutely.
to her.
And it was the clearest, most crystal clear expression of what she needed.
I need you to be here.
Right. And what does that mean? It certainly meant not talking about how I felt necessarily. Right. It didn't mean worrying about the future or the past. It was about being in the moment, about being real, and just being with her. Right. And in her case, since she really couldn't talk, it meant, touching. Right. It meant sharing.
Eye contact.
And that's what she needed. Eye contact, exactly right.
Right.
And that's what she needed.
Okay, so I'm going to say if we can just chunk it down for people who want to do the right thing. Number one for me would be understand where you are in the level of intimacy. Closer to the center of the dying and the grieving, the most intimate people provide services in. Their needs go out to the next layer of intimacy out, and you never send needs and requests in. You provide services and respond to
right.
even just the style of dying. I have a style of dying. Sandy obviously did. And you were able to pick up on the signal and then act. I call it the dragon lady. You were the gatekeeper, right? The gatekeeper at the door to make sure that the people understood the style in which she wanted her ending to occur. Don't fix. Right, best practices. So
you can't fix. Actually.
You can't fix. Right, right, and that is such. Actually, it's sort of a dopey form of selfishness that you would project onto a dying person or a grieving person, like your needs.
All right.
Exactly. Go fix yourself. Go fix yourself.
Or did you think of doing this? Or
suggestions.
Have you tried this? Or
right.
I have a doctor who. Have you considered, an alternative? I mean,
right.
It's just
right. It isn't. It's received right. It's received as an insult, and that is so painful at a time when you have enough just to manage the most intimate people at the center of what's going on. You can't be expected to manage the discomforts of the people who are coming in, comforting themselves with suggestions.
Right.
So, are we good? I think we're good.
Well, thank you for letting me share.
Absolutely. And remember, the most important time you can have conversations around dying, death, and grieving is long before it becomes urgent. It is important right now to have these conversations. Because if you wait until it's gone through importance into urgency, here's what's going to happen. Everyone will remain intensely in character and do more of what's already comfortable and familiar, regardless of the need. Thank you.